Welcome to NarrativeNook where enchanted stories come to life. If you enjoy our stories, please subscribe, like and share to support our channel. Enjoy listening.
We can't prescribe all the medications at once. We'll have to adjust the regimen based on how old Mrs. Griffith responds. Sampson, overwhelmed with gratitude, reached out and shook hands with her once more. I can't thank you enough. You have lifted a long-standing worry from my mind. Recently, he had been taking his mother to different doctors, with no improvement in her condition. The burden was heavy, for he could not account to the rest of the family. All this was brought about by the girl standing before him. This was what they called hope, right? Doctor, if old Mrs. Griffith's condition improves in 3 days and the medications work, how long will it take for her to fully recover? Between 1 to 3 months, depending on the situation. If they avoided surgery, the recovery period would be longer. Surgery could speed things up, but it would depend on her overall health and whether she could withstand the operation. On hearing this, Sampson felt a sense of dread. However, with this girl on their side, he believed she could handle any situation. All right, thank you, doctor. Mark felt somewhat reassured after hearing the doctor's advice. Do you have any plans after this? If you're free, I can have Sampson arrange accommodation for you. You could stay here for the time being. Yes, just stay here. Make yourself at home. Sampson added warmly. I have some matters to attend back home. After all, Carol's condition was more severe than old Mrs. Griffith's. If a cure was not found soon, she might not hold on much longer. What about old Mrs. Griffith's follow-up treatment? Mark asked again. In 3 days, let me know how she's doing and I'll instruct you privately on her medication, Arabella said, standing up. I'll take my leave now. She had promised her mother that she would meet them today. She wondered why her mother had suddenly asked her to travel abroad to see them. Are you in such a rush? I was hoping to take you out for a meal as a token of our gratitude. Sampson seemed reluctant to let her go, but Arabella glanced at the wall clock and said softly, maybe next time. Her phone vibrated then. She took it out and saw it was a call from Jack. Boss, the company that Alberto Rollins left you has been infiltrated by our people. Everything is running smoothly. His subordinates are very loyal. Knowing how much Mr. Rollins favored you, they are accepting of your takeover. The old directors and shareholders have been supporting you in the company. I mean, maybe we should find some time to show up at the company? After all, you haven't appeared there since you took over. Every time Arabella thought about the hot summer after her college entrance examination and the moment Grandpa Alberto left her sight, her heart ached. I'll find some time to go, she said quietly. Great, I'll let the directors and shareholders know that you'll be visiting them soon. It will give everyone a morale boost. When are you returning home? Probably tonight or tomorrow. All right, everything is normal back home. Our people have been guarding Reflections Villa and Riverside Villa, and no suspicious individuals have been spotted. Okay, got it, bye. After hanging up, Arabella noticed Sampson and Mark were waiting for her. It could be seen from her conversation that she always seemed busy. What kind of person was this girl? She didn't seem like an ordinary person at all. I heard from Mark that you enjoy a good cup of tea. How about we skip the meal and have a few cups of tea before you leave? Sampson suggested warmly. Arabella could see that he genuinely wanted to thank her from the bottom of his heart, so she agreed. Sure. A smile spread across Sampson's face. He led Arabella to the garden where the best tea and pastries were being served. Mark, who was accompanying them, sincerely thanked Arabella for her compassionate care. At that moment, the villa's majestic front doors slowly opened, and 8 uniformed servants hurried out to welcome the incoming guests. Arabella followed their gaze and saw a black car parked outside the entrance. The driver opened the car door, and a man and a woman stepped out. My sister and her husband are here, Sampson said. He had sent someone to pick them up from their hotel that morning, and they were finally here. He knew they'd be thrilled to know that their mother's condition could be treated. Sampson grinned, deciding to keep them in suspense for a bit longer. You'll be surprised when you see my sister. You two look strikingly similar. I'll go welcome them. Wait here. Samson stood up, smoothed out his suit, and walked towards the entrance. Mark also rose to his feet. I'll go say hello too. I'll be right back. Sure, go ahead, Arabella nodded. Once they were out of earshot, she pulled out her phone to reply to Romeo's text. As Louisa was led into the villa by the 8 servants, she glanced at the garden to her right and saw a young woman sitting at a table, engrossed in her phone. Is that my brother's girlfriend? Whose daughter is she? She asked one of the servants, unable to hide her excitement. The servant replied, she came with Dr. Mark this morning. She's his mentor. She seems quite young. A mentor? Kenneth chuckled. Well, we don't need to worry about my brother's future anymore. It's quite a relief, Louisa confessed, a smile playing on her lips. With 5 sons at home to look after, and a brother abroad, it's good to see him finally settling down. Louisa, Kenneth, Samson greeted, hugging both of them warmly. Mark, you've worked hard, Louisa said, exchanging pleasantries with him. Then, leaning in close to Samson, she asked, be honest, who is that girl sitting over there? Is she the one you mentioned before? Samson chuckled, realizing his sister had misunderstood something. But he decided to keep it a secret for a bit longer. Come with me, and you'll see. He couldn't wait to see the look on Louisa's face when she realized how similar Arabella looked to her. And wait till you hear that Mom's condition can be treated, all thanks to this young woman. I can't wait to see your reaction. Let's go. I want to see her, Louisa said, planning to meet the girl as a parent, but as she got closer, she couldn't help but feel a sense of familiarity about the young woman. Just then, Arabella got a call. She stood up to take it, and her silhouette caught Kenneth's eye. She does remind me of Bella, he admitted. You think so too? Louisa was surprised. I was just thinking her fashion sense is very similar to Bella's. Who's Bella? Samson asked, clearly puzzled. Arabella quickly finished her phone call and turned around. Louisa and Kenneth stared at her in disbelief. Samson, seeing the expressions on his sister and brother-in-law's faces, was about to introduce Arabella when Louisa blurted out, Bella, what on earth are you doing here? Mom. Arabella looked surprised, then turned to Kenneth. Dad? What are you two doing here? What did you just call them? Now it was Samson's turn to be surprised. When did his sister and brother-in-law have a daughter? Even Mark, who was standing by, had wide eyes. What was going on? Mark asked me to come here and treat his friend's mom. I was nearby, so I came, Arabella explained, and then turned to her parents, and you too. You're not referring to his mother, are you? Louisa pointed at her brother. Arabella nodded, a bit confused. That's your uncle. His mother is my mom, your grandmother. At Louisa's words, both Arabella and Samson looked surprised. Uncle? Grandma? This was a lot to take in. Samson was stunned. When did he get a niece? And she's all grown up? What was happening? Kenneth managed to say, let's sit down and talk this through. Louisa quickly explained the fire at the clinic years ago, how Bella was taken by the Murphy family, and how Serena wasn't their biological child. Shocked, Samson now understood why he felt a strange sense of familiarity the first time he met Arabella, even a sense of closeness. Subconsciously, he always felt she had some connection with his sister, even wanted to investigate her. Because you're usually busy and you're abroad, and Mom's illness has been a great burden, I was afraid if I told you and you told Mom, it might worsen her condition. So Louisa thought she'd keep it a secret for a while, until their mother's condition improved. At the time, Bella had just been recognized, and Louisa didn't want to announce her identity to friends and family all at once. It was to avoid overwhelming Bella with visits and to give her and Kenneth more time with their daughter. Moreover, it was because the health of the elders in both families wasn't good, and she was afraid they would be upset. So how did you meet Bella? Did Mark introduce you? Louisa asked her brother. Samson replied honestly, I saw her in a restaurant before and thought she looked a lot like you. Then I saw her again on the cruise last night. She not only saved me, but also helped me detox. When Louisa heard about the dangerous situation from last night, her heart pounded in her chest. You were being hunted down last night. Who did it? Who dares to act so recklessly on your turf? Thankfully Bella was there. She even calculated the time of the knockout gas, which helped me find the mole quickly. Arabella was surprised to hear this. So the incident last night was caused by a mole? She also thanked him. Uncle Sampson, you helped me and Kelly escape the siege, and you gave me a very valuable medicinal herb. Upon hearing this, Louisa was taken aback. Her brother, he wasn't one to just give things away, let alone such valuable herbs. Only if he really admired and appreciated the girl would he be so generous. So, their precious daughter had gained her uncle's approval and affection before this. Louisa was both happy and puzzled. Bella, what do you need that for? Someone close to me is sick and this is just the herb they need. Arabella didn't mention the issue with Carol, preferring to let Clark confess to his parents himself. Bella, have you had your grandma check it out? Is her condition tricky? Kenneth asked with concern. Sampson smiled warmly. Bella has already prescribed the medication for the first 3 days. If all goes well, Mom should be completely better in 1 to 3 months. Really? Kenneth and Louisa exclaimed in unison. They knew this child would have a solution. I knew it. There's no ailment in the world that can stump you. Every patient that comes to you, no matter how serious, always seems to pull through. Kenneth was all smiles, earning him a pinch on the thigh from Louisa. He nearly let out a yelp, and realized he had misspoke. He glanced at Bella, and saw a flicker of sadness pass through her eyes as if she was reminded of something from the past. Kenneth quickly apologized. What I mean is, your medical skills are superb, there's nothing you know, that's not what I meant. I was just trying to compliment you. It's okay, Arabella smiled lightly. It had been such a long time, she wasn't going to dwell on the past. She knew her Granny Grace would be heartbroken to see her upset. I'm just happy because your grandmother's illness has been tricky, and despite seeing many doctors, there hasn't been any improvement. It's a relief you have a solution. Louisa quickly took Arabella's hand and said gently, You've done a great job. You've done your best for every patient, and you have nothing to be ashamed of. Sampson guessed that Bella must have encountered a patient she couldn't save in the past, someone very important to her. That was why Kenneth and Louisa were so protective of her feelings. Even Dr. Bella had patients she couldn't save? How desperate and heartbroken she must have felt. Because she had reached the pinnacle of her profession, and if she couldn't save them, then other doctors must be at a complete loss. That kind of despair was like falling into a bottomless pit, with no one to pull her out. The poor little girl had to bear such pain at such a young age. Bella, your parents will be staying at your uncle's house for a few days. Why don't you stay as well, at least long enough to see your grandmother? Sampson invited sincerely. Yes, stay with us for a few days and see your grandmother. Louisa agreed. I hope you'll stay too. You mentioned earlier that you had other things to take care of. See if you can rearrange them, even staying for just 1 or 2 nights. Sampson really liked his niece and wanted to spend as much time with her as possible, looking for opportunities to treat her well. It's quite a coincidence that we bumped into each other. It must be fate. Kenneth chuckled, also hoping his daughter would stay. We can all leave together when it's time. Arabella thought for a moment, then nodded. All right. Great. Sampson was thrilled. He called the butler over, whispered a few instructions, and soon the entire staff of the house appeared in a neat line. Sampson beckoned Arabella to his side, exuding the air of a family patriarch. He looked at the dozens of servants and introduced Arabella very seriously. This is my niece, Arabella. From now on, treat her as you would me, with utmost respect. Yes, sir. The staff bowed in unison, then turned to Arabella and greeted her respectfully. Hello, Miss Bella. Hello, everyone. Facing this crowd of staff, Arabella didn't flinch. It was as if she was used to such grandeur and her presence towered over everyone else. Sampson could tell, this kid was definitely not ordinary. Such a young age, and yet, her presence was already so powerful. He patted his niece on the shoulder, speaking in a tone of tender affection. Bella, from now on, this is also your home. Feel free to visit whenever you want. Thank you, Uncle Sampson. Silly girl, don't be a stranger. I'm your uncle after all." Sampson then instructed his staff to prepare the largest room for Arabella to rest. Meanwhile, he sought to catch up with his sister and brother-in-law about his niece's situation. Once settled, Arabella called Grandpa Beck to briefly fill him in on what had happened. Chuckling, Grandpa Beck said, "My dear, it's all in the hands of fate. Destiny brought you to meet your uncle and even save your grandmother. It's all about family, one way or another, you'll always reunite. Just like a carousel, you will eventually come full circle." Arabella also found the concept of fate fascinating. No wonder she felt an inexplicable sense of familiarity when she first met Sampson. It turned out that he was her real uncle. "Don't worry about Carol's illness. I'm already on it and I promise to have a solution in a few days." With Nightshade, everything else was manageable. "Thank you, Grandpa." "No trouble at all, sweetheart. I've got plenty of time on my hands. It's nice to have something to do. You stay there as long as you need and spend time with your family. You're always so busy disappearing for months at a time. Now your uncle will have to wait for your visits." Grandpa Beck laughed heartily. After a bit more small talk, Arabella ended the call. The room Sampson had set up for her took up half of the third floor, providing an excellent view. The scenery was captivating. Standing on the balcony, she could see her parents and uncle, still sitting where they had been, deep in conversation. The wind gently stirred her long hair and the servant, coming to deliver her toiletries, froze at the sight. This girl was breathtakingly beautiful, and so refined. There was an air of grace and elegance about her that was utterly captivating. Arabella noticed someone behind her and turned to see the friendly servant with short hair. "Miss Bella, you are really beautiful." The servant, May, put down the toiletries and said cheerfully, "I was thrilled to hear you are Mr. Sampson's niece. If you need anything, just let me know." "May." Arabella repeated her name and said softly, "Thank you." "You're too kind, Miss Bella. From the moment I saw you, I really liked you. Your medical skills are amazing, and you're so beautiful, not like any other rich girls." With that, May couldn't help but ask, "Can I take a picture with you?" Arabella smiled and nodded. Delighted, May quickly took out her phone. "Don't worry, I have lots of beauty apps." Of course, with Arabella's natural beauty, she didn't need any digital enhancement. But out of courtesy, May still opened a beautifying camera app and took a couple of selfies with Arabella. In the photos, Arabella was stunning. Her features were flawless, and her gentle smile was captivating. Standing next to her, May was smiling radiantly. "Miss Bella, can I add you on WhatsApp? Can I post our selfie on Facebook?" May asked, hastily adding, "It's okay if you don't want me to." "Go ahead," Bella said, handing over her business card for May to scan, asking softly, "How long have you been here?" "I was taken in by Mr. Sampson when I was a child. I've been here for 18 years, May replied, unable to resist asking, "Miss Bella, you're younger than me, aren't you?" "I'm 18 too. So, we're the same age." May took a shine to her and they chatted for a while before May left. Downstairs, several servants busied themselves, gossiping about the newly arrived Miss Bella. Where did Mr. Sampson get a niece from out of the blue? Is she a blood relative? What about Serena? Didn't you notice? Miss Bella looks a lot like Mrs. Collins. She must be her daughter. Serena, on the other hand, seems more like the outsider in this family. You think Serena might be the one who was switched at birth? Miss Bella fits in more with Mr. Sampson's family. Let's not discuss Mr. Sampson's family matters. The servants resumed their duties. After a while, someone spoke up. Don't you find Miss Bella impressive? Even Dr. Mark was helpless with the sickness. Miss Bella said it wasn't a big deal and even prescribed some medicine. Dr. Mark said Miss Bella is his teacher. This means her medical skills are superior to his. With her wealthy background, Miss Bella must have been nurtured for her medical talents from a young age. The rich have it so good. They can make their kids so excellent. I find Miss Bella quite nice. She doesn't put on airs. Yeah, she may not talk much, but she's friendly to everyone. Unlike Serena, who appears gentle and generous, but actually. Enough talk. the servants quieted down and returned to their work. Not long after, Bella saw May's post on Facebook. Shamelessly asked my lady for a couple of selfies. I really like her so much. She's beautiful and kind _. She also posted the 2 selfies. Bella was about to like the post when her phone rang. It was one of her subordinates reporting on their work. On the other side, Serena froze when she saw May's Facebook post, chills running down her spine. May was an orphan that her uncle had taken in. She had grown up in her uncle's house along with several other orphans who were also servants. Her uncle had paid for their education and they voluntarily worked in his house. When May found out about the severity of old Mrs. Griffith's illness, she insisted on staying by her side. Serena had May's Facebook because she was a favorite of her uncle's, and she could occasionally get information about her uncle from her. But now, how come Bella was with her uncle and had even won over May? Had her parents secretly met with her uncle and grandmother when they suddenly went abroad yesterday, taking Bella with them? Serena clenched her fists in anger. If her parents had told her about this openly, she wouldn't have been so upset and jealous. But they were always sneaky, as if they were intentionally hiding things from her. If she hadn't seen May's Facebook post, she would still be in the dark. After a moment of frustration, Serena finally sent a WhatsApp message to Louisa. "Mom, when are you and Dad coming back? Christmas is the day after tomorrow. I want to come home and spend it with you." Louisa quickly replied, "Did Christmas sneak up on us that fast? Your father and I are visiting your grandmother overseas, so we might not be back in time. You can hang out with your friends at school or spend the holiday with Martin. It's your first Christmas together after all. Enjoy." Serena bit her lip. As expected, her mother didn't mention Arabella. It was Arabella who went to visit their grandmother and uncle with their parents. Was it possible that everyone was going to leave her behind this Christmas and spend it with Arabella? With that thought, Serena was fuming. "Mom, how is Grandma? Is she feeling better?" Serena began to play the emotional card. "I miss her so much. If only she wasn't so far away, I would love to visit her." If her mother still cared about her, she would surely ask if Serena wanted to join them for the holidays. But Louisa simply replied with a hearty laugh, "Don't worry about your grandma, she'll be better soon. Once she's recovered, we'll all get together and make her happy." Tears welled up in Serena's eyes. "I have to go to class now." She thought Louisa would sense her mood, but all she got was a simple emoji. Serena was even more upset. Her mother was clearly showing favoritism. She couldn't sit idly by. She had to think of a plan. On the other hand, when Sampson heard about his niece's grievances at the Murphy family, he was both heartbroken and upset. If it wasn't for the fact that the 2 heartless individuals from the Murphy family were already in jail, he wouldn't let them off so easily. The only thing he was unsure of was what to give his niece as a gift on their first meeting. His sister had told him that Bella was great at running the company. The previous issues with the fashion company under his brother-in-law's name were all resolved thanks to Bella. He had thought that his brother-in-law hired a competent person to turn the company around. He never imagined that all of this was the doing of a 17-18-year-old girl. Sampson thought for a moment, then made another call. Arabella was resting in her room when she heard May knocking on the door. "Miss Bella, are you asleep? Mr. Sampson has something to discuss with you." Arabella opened the door, and May immediately flashed a radiant smile. "Mr. Sampson is in the study on the 2nd floor, please follow me." Arabella found May's smile very infectious. When she smiled, it seemed like the whole world lit up. In the study, besides Sampson, there was also a man in a suit. Arabella was somewhat surprised. "Arabella." Sampson got up from his seat, came over to Arabella, and introduced the man to her. "Let me introduce you, this is my niece Arabella. Miss Bella has inherited all the best traits of the Collins and the Griffith families. Beautiful and outstanding, simply enchanting." The man quickly bowed. "Nice to meet you, Miss Bella, just call me Robin." "Hello." Arabella greeted politely. "Robin helps me manage several of my casinos," Sampson said, then patted Arabella's shoulder. "From now on, she will be the boss of all my casinos." Upon hearing this, Arabella was taken aback. Was he planning to give her all his properties? Yes, Miss Bella. I will follow your orders from now on. Robin was extremely respectful towards her. Today is just for you to meet her. You can leave now, Bella and I have some things to discuss. Sampson told Robin. Once Robin had left, Sampson produced a contract and said gently, "This is your share of the company from me. Consider it a welcome gift. I'm glad you're back with the family." "You shouldn't have, Uncle Sampson." "Take it," Sampson insisted, pushing the contract into her hands. "You're part of the Collins family as well as the Griffith family. It's only right that you have a share in the Griffith family's company." "But Uncle Sampson, I'm still a student." She didn't have the time to manage such a large business. "Robin will help you manage. And you have me too," reassured Sampson. He then asked curiously, "Your dice rolling skills are pretty good. Who taught you?" Arabella briefly explained the story of her childhood. Sampson laughed heartily. "Your grandfather sounds like quite the character. Quite entertaining indeed." Arabella thought back to yesterday when she had unintentionally won money from her uncle. She felt guilty. Back then, she thought Nightshade was with Murray, so she decided to help Murray win a few games in exchange for it. She never expected that it was one of her uncle's businesses. "From now on, you can go to any of my businesses free of charge," Sampson said fondly. "When you have time, I'll take you to meet the team." Arabella's propriety and understanding warmed Sampson's heart. "Once you've rested, I'll have May show you around the house." Next, May had the driver bring around a golf cart to pick up Arabella. The mansion is quite large. It would take a while to walk around. Once Arabella was in the cart, May began the tour. "This is the front garden. It's quite large with many rare flowers and plants. If you take your time, it can take half an hour to tour. This is the helipad. Mr. Sampson usually takes the helicopter if he has to go somewhere. This is the vegetable and fruit garden. We grow a variety of produce here. This is Mr. Sampson's private golf course. He likes to play golf in his free time." The tour around the estate took until noon. Sampson had the chef prepare a feast for Arabella's arrival. She was greeted by a table laden with dozens of exquisite dishes. "This is your first meal in Lidoria with me. It should be a special occasion." Not only was the food extravagant, but the table setting and the atmosphere were also carefully arranged to create a warm and romantic ambience. "Sampson, you've outdone yourself," Kenneth said, draping an arm around Sampson's shoulder. "You always put on such a grand spread." "No need for formalities, Kenneth, it's just a few dishes." Then Sampson turned to Arabella, his expression softening. "Bella, feel at home here. Help yourself to whatever you want to eat. Eat lots, make sure you're full." Bella isn't shy, Louisa said, her eyes crinkling in a smile. Once seated, she insisted everyone toast to Sampson. "It should be us toasting to Bella. We're truly glad that she's back with the family and able to come here." The sound of glasses clinking together marked a joyful reunion. Sampson watched as her parents served Arabella, guessing her favorite dishes and serving her some himself. "Since Bella is here, let's let her rest today. Tomorrow, we'll take her out and show her around," Sampson suggested. "Sure, where are we headed?" Louisa smiled at her brother, already thinking of a day she could spend solely with her daughter. "I'll plan it out." Laughter and conversation filled the room as they finished their meal in a jovial atmosphere. Later in the afternoon, Arabella retired to her room only to be interrupted by a frantic knock at her door. "Miss Bella, it's me. Are you resting?" The thing is, old Mrs. Griffith woke up. When Mrs. Collins told her about your background, she seemed to have a shock. She couldn't breathe properly and fainted again. Arabella rose to answer the door. "I'll go have a look." In the master bedroom downstairs, Louisa was in a state of panic. If anything happened to her mother, she would never forgive herself. "Bella's here." Kenneth saw his daughter and felt a sense of relief wash over him. Louisa also looked hopeful. "Bella." "It's okay, let me check." Arabella sat by the bedside, her delicate fingers on old Mrs. Griffith's pulse. She was indeed in a state of shock, her condition had worsened. Arabella opened her acupuncture kit, ready to administer the treatment.
Is it very serious?
Louisa was frantic. I saw your grandma awake, and I just couldn't help myself. I told her about your background.
Has her condition worsened?
We would have to tell her eventually. With Bella here, there's no need to worry. Sampson comforted his sister, not blaming her for revealing the truth. However, Louisa was still upset. If she had known, she would have waited until her mother's condition was stable.
It was all her fault.
As Arabella calmly inserted the silver needles into old Mrs. Griffith's body, Louisa realized how mature and composed her daughter was. She truly was the stabilizing force in their family. Seeing her mother suffer due to her impulsiveness, Louisa felt a pang of guilt and regret, which didn't subside until Arabella finished the treatment. "Grandma will wake up tomorrow," Arabella said soothingly.
Why?
Louisa asked urgently. Her body is still very weak, and she had a shock.
I'll adjust her medication later.
Arabella reassured her, "Don't worry, she'll be fine."
Does she have a life-threatening condition? No, she doesn't.
Louisa breathed a sigh of relief.
Let's leave her to rest.
Arabella instructed the caregiver before leaving with the others.
Thank goodness Bella was here today.
Louisa regretted her impulsiveness. She had kept the secret for so long. Why did she reveal it now? If Bella wasn't there, what would have happened before the doctors arrived?
Louisa, don't blame yourself.
Sampson comforted her. You just wanted her to know about Bella's existence.
We all understand.
Bella has been back home for 6 months, yet her identity was never revealed.
We all feel guilty towards her.
Louisa was upset. In fact, she was the one who wanted to reveal Bella's true identity the most. She wanted everyone to know that Bella was the rightful heir to the Collins family, her and Kenneth's biological daughter. But her worst fear had come true. Thankfully, her mother's life was not in danger due to the shock. Otherwise, she would never forgive herself. Hearing this, Arabella spoke softly, "Mom, it doesn't matter to me whether my identity is revealed or not. What matters is that we, as a family, are together." Whether her grandparents found out earlier or later didn't make a significant difference to her. As for the perceptions and scrutiny of the outside world, they were as light as a feather to her. Being able to return to the Collins family, having the love of her parents, the attention of her brothers, and the cherishing of Romeo, she was already contented. As for others, like Serena, she didn't take them to heart. "Good child, we've let you down all these years." Louisa couldn't help but embrace her, tears rolling down her cheeks.
It was my negligence.
Back then, if we had been more cautious and tested the parent-child relationship right after bringing the child home, things wouldn't have turned out this way.
Kenneth paused, guilt evident in his voice.
"Bella, I have failed you." Seeing his brother-in-law shouldering all the blame, Sampson added, "The day the clinic caught fire, my sister and child were lucky to escape safely. After carrying a child for 10 months, who would suspect the child's identity for no reason? They could only say that fate had played a cruel joke on them. Now Bella has returned, and we need to double our efforts to make up for the shortcomings of these years."
That's what we need to do now.
Sampson reassured everyone, "This isn't the time to blame anyone. Everyone, relax. Mom will get through this, let's stop blaming ourselves." Arabella glanced at her uncle, suddenly feeling that this family had a warmer touch compared to the Murphys. In fact, there was no comparison. The Murphy family would only blame each other and shirk responsibilities. But in this family, everyone took responsibility upon themselves.
"All right, stop crying, don't scare Bella."
After comforting his sister, Sampson smiled and said, "May, take Bella back to rest."
Yes.
May, who was deeply moved by the scene, took Arabella back to her room, secretly wiping away her tears. "Miss Bella, you've suffered these years. Serena has enjoyed a life of luxury at your expense. I heard Mrs. Collins say that you've faced many hardships outside." When May mentioned Serena, May's face instantly changed. She quickly checked her Facebook post, which was visible to all. Had Serena seen it? Would it bring trouble to Miss Bella? Thinking this, she hurriedly adjusted the post to be visible only to herself, regretting that she was too careless. "I'm sorry, Ms. Bella, I was thoughtless." My Facebook post. I don't know if Serena has seen it. Arabella quickly understood her meaning. Oh, it's okay. After all, Serena would find out she was here sooner or later. There are no walls that don't leak in this world. Knowing sooner or later doesn't make a difference. On the other side, seeing Louisa sitting alone in the garden, Samson couldn't help but approach her. "Louisa, are you still thinking about Mom?" "Samson." Louisa, with teary eyes, said, "You know, Mom always doted on Serena. Now that she suddenly finds out Serena isn't her biological granddaughter, but Bella is, I'm a bit worried."
If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.